16-8, OMAD, 14-hour fast, 16-hour fast, 18-hour fast. Is there an ideal window that's actually best for helping you achieve your weight loss or wellness goals? I'm going to be sharing those details on how you can pick your best window in order to achieve your goals in today's video. Alright guys, if you're new to my channel and you don't know who I am, my name's Autumn and I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's in nutrition and human performance. On my channel, I'm typically talking about the science-backed and holistic methods that you can use in order to feel amazing again. And part of that is finding the intermittent fasting schedule that works for you. Now, is there actually truly a best schedule in order to achieve your weight loss or wellness goal? Now, there is some type of schedule that you do want to maintain, and ideally it's in order to match your circadian rhythm by eating during the daytime hours. Now, this can be a little tricky now that we're in fall, or for my Australian peeps, this actually might be a little bit easier for you. But you want to aim to have the majority of your meals during those daylight hours. Our digestion slows when we go to sleep, so you want to aim to have your last meal between 1 to 3 hours before bedtime. Now, this will change depending on if you have a night shift schedule, which I did do a really great interview with one of the AM peeps who is a nurse and has to use night shift schedules. So make sure you check that out with the card above. And the first question I typically get asked about the best schedule is always the 12 to 8. For some reason, 12 to 8 seems to be the one that is most commonly preached as the time to eat in order to achieve your wellness or weight loss goals. I've even heard people go as far as saying you are not following intermittent fasting if you don't eat between the hours of 12 and 8 p.m., which is pretty crazy. In fact, I highly recommend going about this route if it does not work for you, because what I have found as the best schedule for those who are following intermittent fasting in order to achieve your goals long term is the one that's actually most sustainable for you and your schedule. So this begs the question, how do you determine what's best for your schedule? Now, one really easy way to go about this is by first determining when you are able to eat dinner. Now, dinner is the meal that I found is the most steadfast for every individual. It's also one that we tend to be able to tinker with less. So you first start with that meal and then you just count 8 hours backwards or 10 hours backwards if you're starting with a 14-hour fast. Now, for myself, I typically eat dinner around 6:30 and will be done roughly around 7. So if you count 8 hours backwards, from 7, that gets you to 11 a.m. So my eating window tends to be 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And if you are brand new to intermittent fasting, I don't necessarily recommend diving immediately into that 16-hour fast. In fact, even just starting with a 12-hour fast and then inching your way up to that 16-hour fast is a much smarter way to go about it so that your body can ease into the process and it won't be so much of a shock on your system. Now, this means that your eating window will initially be larger, which is fine because you are easing into this process. And for that reason is why it's especially important to make sure that you're utilizing the proper nutrient timing that I'm always talking about in the complete intermittent fasting bundle guidelines. This in itself will help to make sure that you can get those larger gaps between your meals with an eating window that is larger. And there may be some variations day to day as well when it comes to what your schedule will be. And although I do recommend trying to be as consistent as possible, also allowing for that flexibility. Because remember, if you aren't flexible with yourself, then it's also not going to be sustainable. So let's take my 11 to 7 p.m. example again. Now, typically Monday through Thursday works out perfectly. But on Fridays when I tend to go out to eat with my friends and family. And just with the nature of going out to eat, we usually aren't even sitting down until 7 and then maybe not even being done until 8:30 or 9. Now, I know that. And so on those days when I know that I do have some type of dinner plans later on, I'll just shift my window to start a little bit later. So instead of starting at 11, I'll start at 12 or maybe even 1. And that will get a lot easier the longer you use intermittent fasting. And it might sound crazy to not start eating till 1, but as your body gets better at using fat as fuel and becoming metabolically flexible, having those slight variations in your window will be a metaphorical piece of cake. And let's say that you have those last minute plans. So you didn't realize that you were going to be going out to dinner that night, and so you didn't plan for it with shifting your window earlier in the day. That's fine. So you have one day where your eating window is a little bit larger. Just go straight back to your normal eating window the next day. The key here is to have that sustainability factor, and by allowing for that flexibility, you're going to be able to utilize those healing principles of intermittent fasting long term. If you didn't allow for that flexibility, then that means that you wouldn't be able to have impromptu dinners, which really takes the fun out of life. So consistency matters, but also being flexible with yourself too. Now, if you do have dinner plans often, then I do have a video that dives further into this concept of window shifting right here. Also, if you love this science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out with new videos every Tuesday and Thursday to help you achieve your wellness goals and feel amazing again. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.